Identified our koala. We've prepped our milk. We've got our towels ready. Everything's ready. Check the syringe if it's functioning well, and we'll see you to the end of the feed. Right now we approach the koala. Let them have a little sniff. Oh yes, it's familiar. A little lap there, and she's away. This is Cookie, and she has more of a lapping feeding action than a sucking one. And koalas get into a habit, they prefer it from certain sides of their mouth. Sometimes that's dependent on who feeds them or how they're being fed. But Cookie will actually take it from the other side of her mouth as well. She rolls the syringe around in her mouth as she laps up the milk. And then I wipe her face while we still have her attention. So just I'll pinch. Yeah, like that. From underneath rather than freak her out too much. Oh, good girl. Good girl. So we didn't need to have to hold her or corral her. Ah! Who's coming back? Thank you, Cookie. Yeah, so we just put the syringe, just the tip at the corner of their nose, at the front of their mouth. They're still lapping and sucking at the same time, and I try to let the koala come to the syringe rather than try and force the syringe into the koala's mouth. So just the very tip. And they're used to, they'll come to it if they want it. As soon as they start to bite, I just go soft in my hand and just let the syringe drop out of their mouth. But these guys are used to having it at the front. And a little bit greedy. So if it starts to happen and it gets too intense, then I just stop and
wait till they settle.
Sometimes gently push the other one away if he's really in the way. Very perfect today. You're the best girl, aren't you? You're the best girl. Like getting her face wiped.
Just like a real baby.
You can see his mouth there is a mixture of sucking and sort of lapping. It's really Looks like he's been in the dirt already. Okay. Rafa's easy to get attention when you come to feed him. He looks like he's been in the dirt. It's a good time to have a good look at the joey and just see. So let him come to the syringe, offer his milk. He goes slowly at their pace, making sure that they're swallowing it each time. He does take his milk from the front, but he's not biting down on the syringe at this stage. Just let the syringe fall from his mouth and he knows it's finished. So that's a sweet spot right there beside his teeth and next to the corner of his nose there. So I'm going a little bit slow for him. He's not used to that. So we'll get into a rhythm. We'll find a rhythm, and that's about how he likes it. So he's sucking there, and at the same time we're going to make sure that he's actually swallowing what he takes in. It's a little bit fast because it's dripping out of the corner of his mouth. He hasn't. So he starts by lapping and then gets a taste for it, then he's sucking. A bit of lapping going on there, but be prepared for it to change at any time. Just relax the syringe. He's still interested, which is great. Gets distracted, so just stop at that point. Keep the syringe in his mouth, and then when he's more focused, start again. And he's swallowing quite well, which is good. They will grab at the syringe. Sometimes it's good just to let them know that you don't really want that without causing a fuss. Now here we have some interaction while we're feeding. Just keep an eye on that. At the same time you can check for any, he's been eating dirt, so you just check for any discharge or any sort of problems that they might be having. At this stage Tamiko is being very relaxed, but sometimes it does get intense and it puts them off and you have to intervene. But generally it's not a problem. If it does, you just stop. You just stop and that can just put your hand up and back her off a little bit. And she's going to try from the other direction. It's not yours. Yours done. At this point, you could, if it was getting too intense, you would get somebody else to come in and do a bit of crowd control. So far, so good. Rafa's the main one to concentrate on. He's still eating, so he's doing well. I'm just pulsing the milk in a little with his swallows. So we try and control the situation. Don't let them dominate. Sometimes when they grab at the syringe, it really dominates. And there's a lot of pressure on it. But we need to keep the syringe nice and flat. wait till we have his attention again. It's getting close to being full. And start again. So nice syringe. Make sure his mouth is in a good position. A little bit extended. Not sort of reaching up or reaching down. So once he's finished, we need to wipe his mouth. And try and do it in one sort of motion so he still thinks he's going to get some milk, and just come up and pinch his little chin. Of course he doesn't do it as we would hope. So it's best not to touch if we can. So just like that. He's a little bit used to having his mouth wiped. So it's just a little come up from underneath and a little sort of tweak of his chin. If you need to use the other hand to corral, just a flat hand, come up with the other hand, and double check that you've got him cleaned up. Sometimes you can bring the hand in to stop him moving. He's been good, but try to avoid grabbing them to wipe their face. She's a bit of a guzzler, and she does want to grab the syringe, her teeth. This is where you really need to make sure she's swallowing well. She's very keen for it. And that can be a problem if you go too fast. It's just nice and steady. Slightly to the side if you can. Just gentle encouragement into a better position. You don't want the syringe to go too far into her mouth, so you just still want to be able to visualize the one. So she's taking control, so just stop and calm things down a little bit. Give her something to hang on to. And then approach slowly. Just the tip of the syringe in her mouth, not too far in. That's much better. When they first come into kindy, they're a little bit distracted by a lot of the noises and the activity. They're not used to being fed, so it can be harder to get their attention. So you present it to their nose till they smell it and taste it, just a few little drips, and they lap it, and then you can start into a rhythm. She very much wants to control the syringe. That's better. It's better where she was lapping rather than chewing and biting. Like that. Wow. Wiping, she's still got interest. Just pinch underneath. She doesn't like it. I think we've got it all. If we need to. Oh! Yep, she really doesn't like it, but that's really helpful to get the milk off. And if you needed to guide her just with the open hand ready, but she's got it worked out. No need to grab her from behind, that just freaks her out. in that situation.